Hey everyone, this is Dave from GMAT Ninja. If you're more than 10 points from your target score on the verbal, we need to talk. It's likely that you have some fundamental barriers that are keeping you from improving your score, and you might be hoping that a tutor can help you overcome them. But it's important to know that while tutoring can be helpful in many cases, it has its limitations, particularly when it comes to the verbal section. So today I'm going to cover 4 challenges on the verbal section, starting with the one that's easiest for a good tutor to help you address, and ending with the one that a GMAT tutor really can't do much about. The first and most straightforward issue a tutor can help with is a knowledge gap. For example, in sentence correction, you'll want to know your parallelism triggers and how they work. You'll need to know your modifier rules. You'll need to know the different question types for critical reasoning, and understand that your approach for a strengthened question will be different than, say, your approach for an inference question. These are just a few examples of the kinds of foundational knowledge that a GMAT tutor can help you with. Next, let's talk about poor test-taking technique. And by poor technique, I'm talking about bad habits that virtually guarantee that you're going to struggle. And we've seen some interesting ones at GMAT Ninja. I'll share a few with you right now. I worked with one student who read every question backwards, reading the last sentence first and the first sentence last. If you take nothing else from this video, please don't do that. I've worked with plenty of students who are so hell-bent on using a test prep trick like negating the assumption that they're busy negating answer choices before they've, read the actual passage and understood it. I've seen students who are so focused on labeling every piece of an argument as a conclusion or a premise that they miss what the author is trying to say. I've worked with students who pick the first answer choice that sounds reasonable and then race through the remaining options without thinking about them. I've helped students who refuse to pick an answer in a sentence correction question if it sounds weird. But if you're a question writer and you're trying to produce a difficult question, well, you might produce a correct answer that sounds weird. The point is, everybody's got some bad habit that hurts their performance on the test, even those of us who do this for a living. A good tutor can help you spot those bad habits and offer solutions to address them. But tutoring isn't magic. Just as working with a personal trainer by itself won't transform your body, working with a GMAT tutor doesn't guarantee success. You're still going to have to put in a lot of time and effort to transform the habits that are holding you back. That said, if you're determined and consistent, eventually you will make progress. And even if you don't hit your goal score, that progress is something to be proud of. Third is anxiety. At GMAT Ninja, we always have a chat with students about anxiety because test-taking anxiety is very common. Most of us think that anxiety means being so nervous that we can't think clearly. But it can be more subtle too. If you have so much energy at the beginning of a section that you're racing through problems and making careless mistakes, well, that's a kind of anxiety too. When we think that anxiety might be causing a student's technique to break down, we usually recommend a handful of anxiety-reducing practices like mindfulness meditation, or even something as simple as getting more exercise. But anxiety can be a serious medical condition. Even when dealing with normal test-taking anxiety, it can take weeks or months before students see improvement after incorporating our advice. And sometimes the anxiety is just too severe for us to help with. It's really important that we be honest with our students and discuss these limitations up front. Last, but certainly not least, we have poor reading skills. Now, reading skills are fundamental to the GMAT, but this is an area where a GMAT tutor's ability to help, it might be extremely limited. If I ask a student to read a passage and then tell me what she's read, one of 3 things is going to happen. Either A, she'll understand the passage and not substitute her own words in place of the author's. B, she'll get the gist of it, but she'll miss some important details. Or C, she just fundamentally won't understand what the passage was about. If you fall into category B, and the reason you're missing those details is because you're reading too fast, yeah, we might be able to help with that. But if you're consistently in category C, or there's some kind of fundamental language barrier, there isn't a whole lot we can do. Now, in the long run, there's quite a bit you can do to improve your reading skills. You can read a lot. You can hire a reading coach. just know that it could take 6 months, a year, or even longer. And if that's the case, hiring a GMAT tutor probably is not the best use of your money. I know that's not a fun thing to hear, but it's the truth. To wrap it up, if you're really struggling with the verbal and you're considering hiring a tutor, please ask yourself whether the things you're struggling with are actually things a tutor can help with before spending a bunch of money. I'm Dave from GMAT Ninja. Thanks so much for watching.